Lynn Cullen live in 1 minute. Welcome to Lynn Cullen Live at pghcitypaper.com. Email your questions and comments to Lynn at pghcitypaper.com.
Hello, hello, hello. We made it again. It's Friday. Yes. And it's a beautiful Friday. Even more yes. May 11th. God, sure sign of getting old that days seem to fly. Well, just me today. Don't have any of my male backup. But I guess I do have lots of things on my mind and some things I want to share with you. First thing I want to share with you is Jess's reading material. Give me that magazine. Jess says this is her favorite magazine. She subscribes.
It's the first one up there. Do you want to know?
Okay. No, it's not even. I don't even want the article. I want the. This is the magazine. I never even heard of it. Garden and Gun. That is the name of the magazine. Garden and Gun. It's a big magazine, and it's good looking. It's got Ted Turner on the cover. And, this is the 5th anniversary special, so it's been going. And she likes it. She specifically is enjoying a article called Good Dog, which is, in fact, about this guy's dog. And it says this: whenever I pick up the car keys, he runs to the door. When there's a bird, squirrel, or rabbit somewhere outside, he's staring out the window. If I yell out, cow, horse, or Republican, he'll run to the window and bark. And that comes out of the South. That seems like a slightly dangerous quote to have in an article in a Garden and Gun publication, which I think would have more Republican subscribers than Democrats. But then there's you up here in Pittsburgh for some reason who own neither a gun nor have a garden.
Not yet.
Not yet, but she hopes to have a garden. She's considering perhaps having a gun. Other than that, it's all aspirational, as they say. Okay, so that was my one little thing, and then I have another little thing which I've been wanting to share with you and keep forgetting, and just remembered about 3 minutes ago and wrote it down so I wouldn't forget it again. And it's just, it's one word. I'll have to obviously preface the word. It's one word that I've been wanting to tell you about. It is an answer to a question posed to the wife of Samuel, what's his middle name? Samuel Jackson, the actor. It's L. Samuel L. Jackson, the actor. He had been the subject of a cover story in the New York Times Sunday magazine a few weeks ago, which I had failed to read, but did finally get around to last night. And there is, I thought, just this brilliant, I'm sure honest, brilliant, funny response that his wife gave to the question, and because this came after, I have to tell you, this came after some remarks about his personality and character that would make him a very difficult man to be in a relationship with. Not that the sense that he's catting around or anything, but that he's just remote and interestingly, for such a great actor, not very outer directed, not very seemingly empathetic. in the relationship. And yet his wife has stuck with him for 40 years, ever since they met in college. And when asked by the reporter, I mean, to what do you give credit? I mean, what is the reason for the longevity of your relationship? And her one-word response was amnesia. And I just thought that was brilliant. I suspect that willingness to forget is something that probably holds a lot of unions together. Amnesia. It's right there in a nutshell, and I loved that. Okay, so those are Garden and Gun and Amnesia. I ticked those off my little list. Forgive me for my voice. The other day when my mom came on, and she was like hacking and coughing, and Susan's on the other line hacking and coughing, and I'm over here hacking and coughing. I don't remember us doing that in general, being three women who were phlegmatic in a different sense of the word. I don't recall that, but there it was, loud and clear, and not particularly attractive. Not even not particularly attractive, totally unattractive. Okay, now, the thing I came across today, which just blew me away. For anybody who says that I'm beating up on the Catholic bishops and the hierarchy, the male hierarchy of the church, I don't go out of my way to do that. I assure you, I do not go out of my way to do it. It seems to me that the gentlemen of the church go out of their way to provoke this kind of outraged reaction that I'm forever voicing here. They're unbelievable, these men. Here's the latest. You know who the bishops, the American bishops, are gunning for now? We heard a few weeks ago that they were investigating the sisters, the nuns. A serious investigation, because it has come to their attention that the nuns are spending their time ministering to the sick, the needy, and the poor. And that must stop, apparently. The bishops are going after the nuns because they see them as too liberal. Oh, dear God. So, the bishop's latest target, you ready for this? I'm not surprised, actually. When I saw it, I thought, oh, yeah, of course. The Girl Scouts. The Girl Scouts. The Girl Scouts are facing an official inquiry by the United States Conference of Catholic Bishops. An official inquiry by the Conference of Bishops. Unbelievable. And what have the Girl Scouts done? I thought it might have to do with maybe they have a gay leader, a lesbian, whatever they call them, leader or something. But no, I was actually thinking of how they just drummed out of the Boy Scouts this mother who had been a den mother who was a lesbian. And apparently a very, very wonderful den mother. She'd just been drummed out because she was a lesbian. And now the bishops are after the Girl Scouts. But it turns out it is not because of their having any lesbians among them. Although I think if the bishops ferret around among the little brownies and the little green-clad cookie sellers, I am willing to bet they'll find a lesbian or two. This is why. Can anybody figure out why? Jess, do you have any really? Why would they be after the Girl Scouts? Can't think of a thing? Well, you'll never be a bishop. You don't think like one. Bishop Kevin Rhodes of Fort Wayne, Indiana, is the one who let it out of the bag. He said that the Girl Scouts are too cozy with groups like, get this, here are the groups they're cozy with that the bishops find to be problematic. And this is the same kind of stuff probably that got the nuns in trouble. The Girl Scouts are cozy with groups like Doctors Without Borders. Okay? As far as I know, Doctors Without Borders, I've given them money in the past. Well, there you are right there. Because my understanding is they go in to the most troubled places on earth and doctor. Yeah. They help people. Okay? The Girl Scouts have been consorting with Doctors Without Borders, apparently, and also with, oh my God, help us, the Sierra Club. This is another one of the problematic groups, the Sierra Club, ladies and gentlemen. Why? You figure that one out, because I can't. And Oxfam. Oxfam is an international, I thought, hunger. They fight hunger, don't they? Please, dear Lord in heaven, will you get a handle on these jerks who pretend to be speaking in your name? It's unbelievable. Okay, so can anyone explain to me why bishops would be going after the Girl Scouts like they don't have anything better to do, like police their own damn ranks? They're going after the Girl Scouts for consorting with these evil people in the Sierra Club, in Oxfam, and Doctors Without Borders. Oh, Jesus, dear Lord. How about a second coming right now? Right now, make yourself known if you're ever there, if you're up there, can come down, whatever it is. Appear, please, and clean thy own house. Jesus. It's unbelievable. Okay, so Jared over at CMU, who puts daily news nuggets together, just emailed me. Where is that story? Do you have a link? I want to put that one up. Yeah, well, I got it out of the New York Times today. It didn't get a lot of attention. It's a little teeny blurb at the bottom of a page, and since I ripped it, I can't tell you what page. Nah, it's in the New York Times today under religion. Okay. They have a heading, religion. Yeah, this has a lot to do with religion. Going after the Girl Scouts. I mean, I can see going after the Girl Scouts for contributing to America's obesity epidemic, right? That is a legitimate reason. I think they should rethink how they fundraise, because the way they fundraise is by tempting already overweight and or obese Americans to get fatter. And I just think that there's, while it's certainly a smart fundraising technique to dangle sweets in front of Americans, it's just not, it's in terms of the impact on the population, it is an overall negative, right? So if I were in the Girl Scouts, I would rethink that. I really would. I know I would get nowhere, but I would ask that they think of the more ethical aspects of what it is they're peddling. Better they should peddle dope, door to door. Hi! Ding ding! Hello! And I have, let's see what we have here. We have some, all these different kinds of marijuana. Because if you buy marijuana in Amsterdam or I guess at these pot stores in California, they all have names and different properties, and this one will, zonk you out in 2 seconds flat. This one will just make you happy and giggly. This one will blah, 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 blah. This one, yada, yada. And, you could have the same kinds of cute little names that they have for the cookies and just do that instead. That would seemingly be better for the population, except then they'd get the munchies and then they'd want the cookies. Hey, now I got a really good idea. So you put out the little brownies selling the pot brownies, and then you put out the Girl Scouts coming on their heels selling more cookies or whatever. Anyway, yes, the bishops now, after they finish with the nuns, they're going after the little brownies and the Girl Scouts. These guys are out of effing control. They really are out of control. And you poor folks who are good Catholics, because your religion has this hierarchical structure, I don't know how the hell how you can get them by the scruff of the neck and pull them back. I don't know what you can do. You can't do anything because you have no power in that regard. I think what a lot of Catholics who just get fed up with this stuff do is they leave. But once you leave, you have no impact. I don't know. I don't know. Beyond belief to me. Okay. Tell you what. Let me take a little breather here. We call it a break. And we'll come back and let me get into the Mitt Romney story just a little bit. I'll give you my thoughts. If any of you have any thoughts, feel free to share either through email, lynn@pghcitypaper.com, or the phone. Oh, yeah, the phone, 412-316-3381. Be back in a minute.
Email your questions and comments to lynn@pghcitypaper.com or call Lynn at 412-316-3381. Lynn Cullen Live will return in a moment.
Go to bergbargains.com for great deals on tickets to the Opera, City Theater, Symphony, History Museum, and Carnegie Museums. Bergbargains.com, Pittsburgh's only online deal site where the deals don't expire. Check out this week's big deal. Over 40% off authentic laser lipo treatments from FDA-approved Zerona. Bergbargains.com.
Gustavo and Vela wants to thank all of southwestern Pennsylvania, the USA, and the world for helping to liberate his native country of Equatorial Guinea. Equatorial Guinea has suffered 43 years of dictatorship, 43 years of human rights abuses, 43 years of corruption, and 43 years of kleptocracy. Even with $5 billion in oil revenue in 2011, the 700,000 citizens of Equatorial Guinea earn less than $2 per day. A proud Mount Lebanon resident, please help Gustavo and Vela usher in the 21st century by allowing freedom, democracy, and socioeconomic prosperity by the rule of law for the next 43 years and beyond. Email him at presidentandvela@yahoo.com to help free Equatorial Guinea.
Pittsburgh City Paper is available now. Pick up one today for Joe Bonamassa, Parliament Funkadelic, Riverdance, and the Blue Man Group. Pittsburgh City Paper available at over 1,700 locations throughout Western Pennsylvania and on the web at pghcitypaper.com and on your smartphone at citypapermobile.com.
Have a question or an opinion? Call Lynn Cullen at 412-316-3381 or email lynn@pghcitypaper.com. Now, more with Lynn Cullen Live.
Okay. Before I get to Romney, I just because Jess and I were talking further about that. It's just it's so mind-boggling, and if Jesus, it's like you want. I was thinking, you think Jesus supposedly he threw the money changers out of the temple? He would boot these bishops out of the church founded in his name so fast their heads would spin. And you know that's true. And I'm thinking the Jesus, this more gentle God of the New Testament, would be, I think, driven to violent rage like his father from the Old Testament if he could see what the men who minister in his name are doing, and what they think, where they think their focus should be, where they've gotten stuck, and where they've lost their broader vision, and where they've just become fixated on picayunish things and lost their way. Why can't they see that? Of course, why should a Jewish woman be able to tell them that? But I'm telling you, maybe because I'm outside and can look in. They can't see the forest for the trees. Jesus, I say again. Okay, so for this Mitt Romney flap, Mitt the bully, I tweeted this, and I was thinking this. This is interesting to me. Barack Obama, if you will recall, as a child in Indonesia, was subject to a lot of bullying. And his mother did not intervene because she felt he had to learn to deal with it and that it would make him stronger. And in fact, I think she was probably right. He was subjected to bullying because, as so often those who are, he was different. He was racially different. Wasn't another kid in that school who had a white mother and a black father who was nowhere to be seen. So Barack Obama was, as a child, bullied. Mitt Romney, as a child, was a bully. And is anyone surprised which parties they represent? That's all I want to say. I mean, it just, all of a sudden I thought, good God, the guy who was bullied obviously grows up with a more empathetic heart and an understanding of people who aren't born on top of the heap and who take a lot of crap in their lives. He's a Democrat. Mitt Romney, at his fancy-dancy private school with his tie on and carrying his little briefcase, the son of the governor, the son of the big corporate CEO, he's a bully. And of course, he's a Republican. If it were to have gone the other way, it would create such cognitive dissonance that the bullied boy would end up being a Republican and the bullying child would end up being a Democrat. I'm sorry. I think this is just perfect. Now, I happen to listen to, I usually don't, but my little short drive to my bus stop today, I happened to tune in the Blowhard station and heard the host there just laughing about Romney's bullying, mocking it, making it seem as if this is ridiculous. I mean, why is this even being talked about? Saying that this is a story that, and they said something about, he said he called the victim this allegedly gay kid who's now dead. And so why should we be talking about this allegedly gay? First of all, he was gay. He did come out as gay. He wasn't allegedly gay. He was gay. And he was different. And Mitt Romney, who was, a senior at the time. That's not a young kid. That's already, your character is definitely showing itself at that age. It is. I would argue your character is showing itself at a younger age. But that he would be the leader. Now, that's interesting. He was already the leader of the pack. And that he has been all his life. But that in his leadership, he chose to humiliate and terrorize and assault. All three verbs are absolutely legitimate, correct? Terrorize. I forgot my three. I thought my three verbs. Now I sound like Rick Perry. Oh, dear God, Cullen, never go back. Just keep moving forward. You didn't have to repeat that in the first place. Oh, God, a mind is a terrible thing to watch fall apart. But that's where his leadership went. You know, it's funny. I have a recollection of being a little younger than that, but in high school, I was a sophomore, and I decided to run for the president of the student council because I saw myself as a leader, too, like Mitt Romney, only not like Mitt Romney. And I'd been on the student council in which I had apparently, according to the administration of the school, been a problem, caused trouble. Because I was so dumbfounded when I got on the student council to find out that it had no power. How silly of me. I was always so naive. Every time I sort of bumped into reality, I was always like, what? What? And so I thought if I was on the student council that we would have some impact on, you know, the quality of our school and real things, instead of figuring out whether or not there should be a wastebasket on the landing, the second floor landing and things like that, and whether or not, you know, pep club should meet over here or there. And so I was always sort of trying to get us to take stands on issues and lead the school. And when I wanted to run for the presidency, I was called down to the principal's office. And he flat out told me, I don't think it would be a good idea for you to run. And here was the quote. You are a leader, but you're always leading in the wrong direction. And what he, as the real leader of the school, was saying is that I was, I would be nipping at his heels and causing trouble. But I was a very serious-minded kid. I would not have been leading in the wrong direction. It shows what a wimp I was that I actually didn't run. I wasn't fully developed yet, so I didn't run. But it made me think of that. Okay, so at that point, you're getting to where you are. I also remember, and I vaguely remember this. My brother has a stronger memory of it because it's a memory that haunts him. Walking home from school, and this is grade school now. I guess my brother would have been grade school went up to 8th grade. My brother would have been like a 7th or 8th grader, which means I would have been a 5th or 6th grader. Walking home, remember, very snowy, and a group of my brother's friends were, I wouldn't say beating up, but they were harassing this poor kid. This kid was the kid who would be bullied for his entire life. He was a little slow. He was homely. He was nerdy. He was heavy. He was the poor kid. I mean, you just wanted to cry. When I think about him, I actually want to cry. And they had him in a snowbank, and they were on him, and they were pushing snow down his shirt and doing, what boys will be boys, what boys do. And I went nuts. I saw that and I went insane. And my brother remembers standing there doing nothing while I just jumped on the pile and started pummeling these jerks who were assaulting Malcolm, his name was. And I was screaming and crying. I was so angry I couldn't see straight. I have this vague memory of it. My brother, as I said, has a stronger memory because it is something he never forgot because he didn't do the right thing. And he's ashamed of it. He was ashamed. And I guess especially given the ethos of the period, more ashamed because his sister, his kid sister, took action where he did not. It would have taken more courage for him to take action. I admit that, given, again, the ethos, right, of the time, because he would have had to go to the aid of this kid that had no friends, and he would have had to take on his own friends in the process, leaving him open, of course, to be considered maybe not a member of the in crowd or the group, whatever. Kids have to navigate a very, difficult social structure. But I think who you sort of are becomes the fact that my brother was shamed. He was shamed at the time, and he's never been able to forget it. Says something about him. Good. It says something good. And I think those boys who did that to Malcolm, if you were to talk to them today, they maybe would remember and feel shame. The fact that Mitt Romney says he doesn't remember this when everybody else involved does. And all of the men now who were the boys who were part of his posse do remember and cringe at the memory and feel shame. And that the leader, Mitt, says he has no memory, who dismisses it as a prank, says, and don't say it doesn't, because the action then as a high schooler and the reaction now as a candidate for president says a whole lot about his character. It says two things. One, if he doesn't remember, okay, it says something, because as I said, every other kid who humiliated and assaulted and terrorized that other kid remembers with shame. And so if he doesn't remember, that tells you something about him. It meant nothing. It meant nothing. He learned nothing, meant nothing, never questioned himself, whatever. Bully. And the fact that he says he doesn't remember says something negative about his character. And if he does remember, which I guess he does, and is denying it, it shows, again, he's a liar and a coward. And so for the blowhards over at the big station over there, that big AM station, to be mocking this and acting like it is not indicative of something, I am sorry, guys. You're totally, totally off the mark. Those are my feelings. Here's Ray checking in on the bishops going after the Girl Scouts. Lynn, the bishops object to those organizations because they promote population control. You know, excuse me, Ray. I'm sure you're right. Yeah, I know you're right. But, excuse me, that just makes me rant again. That's what I meant by it's like not only throwing the baby out with the bathwater, throwing the Girl Scouts out with the whatever. Calculate the children saved by Doctors Without Borders. Think of the lives that these bishops supposedly care so much about. Saved by Doctors Without Borders and by Oxfam. And yet they can only focus on the fact that maybe they give out a contraceptive on occasion? Dear God, this is losing sight. This is losing. They're not weighing anything in the balance for this one, to their minds, sin. Oh, and I know it's a biggie. But then they disregard all the lives saved, the existing lives saved. The children and the people in pain and suffering and starving, those lives saved, as opposed to a would-be life not born. Not conceived. Jesus, I say again, by way of entreaty. Jesus! Throw them out of your temple. They're worse than the usurers. They're worse. I'm sorry, Ray, let's go back to your email. Ray says, these old men see their influence wane as the population of poor and uneducated falls. So they want more poor and uneducated. That's why they're against contraception. They need more poor and uneducated people to stay in power. Excuse me, I'll try not to keep ranting after each one of your sentences. Here's another sentence. How about the strapped Diocese of Pittsburgh selling off buildings across from Central Catholic? Well, that's a good thing. But the buyer is CMU. Yeah, keeping it off the tax rolls. That's right, going from one tax-exempt entity to another. Oh, God. Ray says, we know the bishops don't matter. He speaks as a Catholic there. They are the only ones who care what they think. They're just managers. Yeah, but they're doing the bidding of the Pope and the Vatican. They're appointed by the Pope and the Vatican. I mean, that whole hierarchy, everything goes up to this. So in terms of where the buck stops, it stops at the head of the Catholic Church. And it has lost its way. Kristen writes, hang on, Kristen, for some reason I can't get it up. Kristen writes about Romney. I'm pretty sure I know the blowhard that you are referring to. Yeah, well, right. Morning show. Mm-hmm. I'm fully convinced that he was a bully when he was younger. He has no compassion or empathy for anyone. I think what schools are trying to teach now is not to turn a blind eye to bullies. Seems to me that old Willard is suffering from selective memory. There's no way. I mean, if he doesn't remember it, that says so much. How do you not remember doing that to some kid who's screaming and crying and begging for help? If you don't remember that you were the perp in that situation, then it must mean that you've done it so many times that it doesn't even stand out. Go ahead, please. Hello.
Hi, Lynn.
Hi.
I don't want to go back to the Republicans, but this pro-life stuff always gets me every time. But they have no problem sending men and women, young men and women, over war and getting killed and killing the kids that are over there and people over there. If you're pro-life, you're pro-life. I mean, they're screwy. I mean, that's all you can say about them.
I thought they were anti-war. Weren't they supposed to be anti-war too, the bishops? Not really.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were talking about the Republican Party against abortion and all.
No. In that case, no. You're absolutely right. Absolutely right. Yeah, yeah. They're more concerned with the unborn You know why? Because the unborn don't. I don't know. The unborn don't cost them any money. They don't need anything. The unborn than they are with the children already here who need to be educated, who need access to health care, who need stable neighborhoods, all this kind of stuff. They don't. They pull every program or gut every program that helps those children. And right, they're always for, when they get a little older, sending them off to die somewhere.
Yeah, that's a shame.
No, you're right.
That's the way it is.
You're right. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Bye. It's just... Margaret says you're right. Romney is a coward. Yeah. No, I think that's ultimately if you lead... Because, I mean, it's a continuum, right? Bullies are cowards. They are. That's why they're bullies, actually, because they're cowards. Bullies are cowards. Romney is a bully. Romney is also somebody who won't stand up for anything, right? He hires on this guy because he thinks he's a great guy to help him in his foreign policy, on his foreign policies and this and that. He knows the guy's gay. The haters in his party start squawking, freaking out. Romney turns tail right away. Right away, pushes the guy into the closet, says, shut up, keep your head down, maybe not. He's a coward. And this is a guy we'd want as president? He's a coward. He won't even own up to his own actions. And, well, here's... one of the guys who was involved, who's now Thomas Buford. He's a retired prosecutor. What was interesting is all of these people let their names be used and spoke on the record. I mean, they're not hiding anything. And he says, it happened very quickly, and to this day it troubles me. That shows some character. He should be troubled. I know I'm troubled by things that I did or didn't do in my past. He says the kid, this Lauber, he said, was terrified. He remembers that. And he says, what a senseless, stupid, idiotic thing to do. Here's one of the others saying it was vicious. He was just easy pickings. And one of them later, I don't know if you know this, one of them later was sitting at a bar at O'Hare Airport and looked and saw the guy sitting next to him and said, hey, aren't you, I forget his name now, Lauber, whatever the first name is, aren't you? And he said, yes, I am. And, that guy then apologized and said how sorry he was and how he never forgot it. And Lauber said he has never forgotten it either. And he said he thought about it almost constantly. There's Mitt Romney's impact on some of his classmates. And I'm sorry, guys, on the other side, you can't get away from what that says about him. Just can't. And I want to talk to you guys in West Virginia, the so-called Democrats in West Virginia, who voted almost as much for this felon in Texas as they did for Barack Obama in the primary there on Tuesday. There was a primary in West Virginia, and there was a Democratic ballot, and this felon, I'm sure you know this, who makes, I guess, a case of doing this in states where he's able to not be a resident but still get himself on the ballot. It must be very easy to. He gets himself on the ballot. Of course, nobody knows who he is, But these are Democrats voting in the Democratic primary, and 72,544 of them voted for the felon. 41% of the Democrats, rather than vote for Obama. And I read some story today, I can't remember what magazine, where they're trying to explain how the reasons the Democrats in West Virginia can't stand Obama is because of his position on coal mining. And let's be honest here again, because honesty, again, takes some courage. The reason they don't like Obama in West Virginia, the good Democrats of West Virginia, is because he is a black man. Simple as that. Simple as that. He's toxic there because he's out of place. And you know it. They'd vote for Satan before they'd vote for Obama. Obama's not even going to, he won't even campaign there. There's no point. There's no point to it. And since West Virginia and Pennsylvania are so, well, cheek and to jowl, there's plenty of those Democrats here. And we know them, right? And they can come up with as many reasons as they want why they don't like Barack Obama, and they can protest till they're blue in the face, but we know why. Simple as that. Quick break.
Stick around for more with Lynn Cullen Live after this.
Get Lynn Cullen Live on your smartphone. Go to citypapermobile.com now for Pittsburgh City Paper's brand new mobile app. Get the latest restaurant reviews, event listings, movie times, and of course, Lynn Cullen Live on your smartphone. citypapermobile.com.
It takes 12 years to create a graduate. It takes about the same time to create a dropout. The difference between a child becoming one or the other could be you. Studies prove that reading to a child regularly dramatically improves reading skills, and kids who read well by 3rd grade are 4 times as likely to graduate. So United Way is calling for 1 million volunteers over the next 3 years. We're asking you to step up, make a pledge, tutor a child who needs help, mentor a kid who needs someone on their side, volunteer to read to children, make a difference. Because when a child advances, we all advance. Entire communities improve. The path to success or failure starts long before graduation day, and the difference between a graduate and a dropout could be you. Be a reader, tutor or mentor, give, advocate, volunteer, live united. Take the pledge. Go to liveunited.org now. Brought to you by United Way and the Ad Council.
Hey Jenny, why do you have May 13th through the 19th highlighted on your calendar?
It's National Women's Health Week. Time to make our health a top priority.
So what's going on May 17th from 10 to 1? You have it circled.
That's the open house for Sanford Brown Institute in Pittsburgh. They're celebrating Women's Health Week too.
Are you gonna go?
Totally. I'm getting ready to go back to school, and I want to see which healthcare program is right for me. I'm thinking about training to be a medical assistant or diagnostic medical sonographer. That's ultrasounds. But they have a lot more programs than that.
Okay, so Thursday, May 17th from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. at Sanford Brown in Pittsburgh?
Yep, I'll be there, and you should too.
Call Sanford Brown at 877-839-7444. That's 877-839-7444. Sanford Brown cannot guarantee employment or salary. Find disclosures on graduation rates, student financial obligations, and more at www.sanfordbrown.edu/disclosures.
You're listening to Lynn Cullen Live at pghcitypaper.com. Once again, here's Lynn Cullen.
Yeah, and here's another little footnote of the stupidity of the TSA. Maybe you heard this. Fort Lauderdale. One of the passengers was pulled off a JetBlue flight because her name, mistakenly, they thought her name was on the no-fly list. The traveler in question that was pulled off the flight was 18 months old. So, I mean, here's the way that works. So somehow they're blaming it on a computer glitch. Somehow she's on the flight, and somehow it comes up that, oh my God, she's on the no-fly list, and they, so they run back onto the plane and said, "I'm sorry, got it off. You're off." When they saw that it was an 18-month-old child, would they then have said, "Oh, excuse me, I'm sorry, there's a problem"? I mean, obviously we're mistaken. No. One can only assume that her parents went with her. Jeez. Yeah. I used to complain that when I tried to be ironic or, sarcastic or something, that so often people wouldn't get it. When I tried to clearly make fun, people wouldn't get it. And I'm getting to see why, because reality is so absurd that you can't tell which is which anymore. You can't pair. Go ahead, caller. Hi.
Good morning, Lynn.
Hi.
So, what do gay rights and family planning and contraception and abortion all have in common?
What's that?
Sex.
Ah.
Sex. And those are the things they go after. War. Oh, yeah, you could protest war. If you're pro-life, a lot of people die in war. But, death penalty. Yeah, I heard a guy on the TV the other day saying, why should we protest the death penalty when millions of babies are being killed every year? Like, well, you can still go after the death penalty, too. I mean, you're opposed to that. But it's the sex. War and death penalty are not sexy.
No.
And all they want to do is control everybody's sex lives because they hate the thought that people are out there actually having sex and having fun. So when you hear about contraception and stuff like that, they're always talking about teenagers. Do you really want your teenager to be out there having, abortions and birth control and stuff like that? Well, you know what? It's not just for teenagers. It's also for adults.
Yeah.
It's for grown people.
Who actually,
and unfortunately too many of them respond to that, and it gets them all fired up because sex is ooey and gooey, even though Jesus never mentioned it, so.
Go figure. I mean, surely you agree with me. If we were just to get Jesus back here, would he not go ballistic?
They would reject him.
They would, you're saying they wouldn't, really? You think?
They would not recognize him. They would say, no, you're not the Jesus that we know and love. They wouldn't take him. They would have to do the St. Thomas thing. They'd have to stick their fingers in the wounds to prove to themselves that it's really him. Doubting Thomas was always my favorite apostle, by the way.
Yeah, right.
Because he didn't want to take it on faith. He wanted to know, are you really the resurrected Christ? I'm not going to just accept your word for it, man. I want to stick my fingers in there. I need to know, because knowledge is so much better than faith. You got me off on a tangent there.
Yeah, well, listen. I mean, all of this stuff gets us all off on tangents. It's just it's so ludicrous.
And going after Doctors Without Borders. Let's see, healing the sick. Oxfam, feeding the poor. Yeah, those guys are... Where the hell do these Girl Scouts get off on that?
Oh, dear God.
Okay.
Thank you.
Have a great weekend.
Yeah.
Bye.
Peter writes, no wonder Romney wants that bully pulpit. Just saying. Yeah. Okay, well, I got to chime in on the Time magazine cover. Jess first alerted me to it. It's... Get my grab bag of adjectives here. It is reprehensible. The cover is tasteless. It is... Let's call it what it is, okay? Magazines are dying. And how do you're a magazine, and you're sitting on, you're sitting on a newsstand, if they even exist anymore, and you need desperately to stand out from the other half-dead magazines so that somebody might pick you up. This is all that cover's about. Believe me, and I mean, you know that. You're savvy enough to know it. How do we get people to look at this? For anybody who hasn't seen it, it shows a comely blonde in skinny jeans and a tank top, and part of one side of her tank top is pulled down, exposing her breast, which a boy standing on a chair so he can get his mouth on her nipple is suckling on. She has her hand on her hip and is looking at the camera like, yeah, you got a problem with this? So there she's looking at the camera. You got a problem with this? With this boy who looks way too old to be breastfeeding at her breast. Now, I've since seen what the managing editor, Richard Stengel, who should be shot for this, says, or the photographer as well. They were thinking, they put the kid on a chair so he could reach her breast so that he would look older, which would make it even more outrageous. And they posed her in that sort of defiant way as well. By the way, the woman and the child are mother and son, in case you were wondering. And she does still breastfeed that boy who will be 4 next month. Now, I don't care. Mothers can do whatever they want. The mother in this case, was breastfed, she says, until she was 6. Okay, fine. I don't give a damn. I think it's odd. It's not like you don't have other sources of nourishment for a 4, 5, or 6-year-old child. And any of the benefits of breastfeeding, it seems to me, have been gotten by that age. Most children who are breastfed are weaned between 6 months and a year. And granted, I mean, all this is about is shock value, sensationalism. And by talking about it, we're doing exactly what Stengel and Time wanted us to do. We're selling their magazine. Which is why I sort of wrestled with myself about whether or not to say anything. But I just want to say this is how easy it is, sort of, in a way, to tweak the 24/7 news machine, and to tweak the outrage that we are all so quick to embrace. The fact that they had wanted to do a story on something which I guess is gaining some ground among young parents called attachment parenting. I actually had heard a interview on this few days ago on NPR. And it has to do with breastfeeding longer and sleeping with your child and keeping them, in a sling attached to you, never letting them go, that kind of thing. My motherhood instincts tell me that's all a little much. Frankly, it's a little much. I don't think pediatricians think it's a good idea either. But whatever. Again, you want to do it? Do it. But this article, it's simply about selling the mag, and it shows how desperate they are, that you have to have this sexy broad with a 4-year-old, essentially a 4-year-old, with his, with her breast in his mouth. Yuck. So, that's it. No 4802 tonight, so I know all my fans who might have wanted to see me on QED are not going to see me tonight. Won't be there. And nor will anybody else, for that matter. I don't know why. Hey, happy Mother's Day, speaking of you breastfeeders. Happy Mother's Day to all. And I know this can be sort of a bittersweet day for people who have lost their moms, but whatever. Life's tough. Life's tough, guys. Have a good day. Enjoy this beautiful, beautiful day, if'n you can. And since attitude is 90% of it, you can. I'm telling you, you can. Talk at you again Monday.
Lynn Cullen Live, Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. and archived at pghcitypaper.com. The opinions expressed on Lynn Cullen Live are those of the host and do not necessarily reflect the viewpoints of Pittsburgh City Paper, Steel City Media, and its advertisers.